Gotcha.
Hey, how's it going everybody? It's theGameconomist, and today we'll be working on the Dragonslayer Greataxe. Dragonslayer Greataxe is one of those weapons that you can access at a pretty low level. You only need about 27 strength or 28 strength. I'm trying to remember which one, but yeah, if you dual wield it, you can access it at a low level. It has like 700 AR too, which is nice. The weapon art comes out, pretty fast for what it does. It knocks your opponent over. It has a nice big AoE, and it stuns opponents who are near it but not in range of the damage. So yeah, it's a very easy weapon to use. That's the best way to describe it. For the build, this is a very straightforward weapon. You can't infuse it, you can't buff it, so there isn't a lot to do. You go up to the soft cap, you max out your vigor and your vitality. You can put extra points into faith. I didn't because I know I wasn't going to wear any of the cleric rings, including the one that allows you to cast quickly. So I ended up just putting my extra points into strength to get a little bit more damage. You're not going to get a lot because 40 is the soft cap. So yeah, if you want to do it another way, do it another way. It's hard to go wrong with this weapon. Just meet the minimum requirement and you'll get all the damage from it, okay? Let's move on to talking about how to use this weapon in a duel. So, like all of the slow weapons in this game, you're going to struggle. Your opponent can walk right up to you, they can roll any of your moves, they can roll through. Even your weapon art, they can actually just roll into you and the weapon art will miss them, right? And basically they're going to interrupt you before you attack, right? They'll attack you if you don't attack, and if you do attack, they'll attack your recovery frame. So it's always annoying using a heavy weapon and fighting somebody who really knows what they're doing. With heavy weapons, what I tend to do is actually, sometimes I'll use the kick, sometimes I'll stay just out of their range and I'll refuse to attack until they start becoming more aggressive, and then I'll go for a trade. It's very hard. What you can do to kind of offset this as well is you can bring an offhand weapon. I recommend the Man-Serpent Hatchet. Man-Serpent Hatchet has a really good range and it has natural shield piercing. So both of those are really good attributes to have for an offhand weapon. The other thing you can bring is the Black Knight Shield. Black Knight Shield, you'll still be able to use the weapon art, and you'll be able to do things like block incoming katana running attacks and spear running attacks. So that's what I recommend. Let me mention something about the weapon art. The weapon art move is actually parryable, so be very careful about that. Also, when you're one-handing, all of your moveset is parryable when you're one-handing. So just keep that in mind if you didn't know that. One of the weaknesses of this weapon is the running attack are unusually bad on the Greataxes. If you're two-handing it, it's incredibly short range. If you're one-handing it, it's kind of like a typical R1. It just comes out slow and your opponent has plenty of time to react. So you don't really have an approach, and you're just going to have to focus on outspacing your opponent and trading. Just like all heavy weapons, you really rely on trading. For invasions, I recommend luring your opponent into a bottleneck, small room, or hallway, and then just using the weapon art. They tend to panic roll and get pancaked. It's actually a lot of fun because you can get multiple opponents this way. If you can get them all into the room and then you get your weapon art off before they interrupt it, it's a ton of fun, guys. Because right after, when they're standing up, they all start to panic roll. Just use it again, and you might actually kill somebody. You see what I'm saying? Very fun. Other than that, it performed the way you might expect it to perform for an ultra weapon. It had a bad running attack because it's part of the Greataxe class. The damage on it was excellent. It allowed you to punish Estus healing. You're able to poise through a trade, which allows you to roll backwards after the trade, and that protects you from getting surrounded. And then it has a deadly drop attack. So yeah, it's generally going to be a pretty decent invasion weapon, just because it's one of those ultra great weapons. I think ultra great weapons really do perform better in invasions than they do in duels. Also, because the AR is so high on this weapon, this is what happens when you get really high AR weapons. Sometimes players don't realize that they're in range of being one-shot. Like, let's say they've already taken a little bit of damage. They don't realize they're in one-shot range, and that allows you to get an easy kill. For PvE, this weapon is going to get very good ratings, and that's mostly because it's one of the easiest weapons to use in the game. Can you get weapons with better damage? Sure, but this is definitely one of the easiest because you just use the weapon art, it has a huge AoE, and it pancakes everything. And if it doesn't pancake them, it's going to stagger or stun them. So yes, it's going to get very good ratings because of how easy it is to use. Again, there's better weapons in terms of damage, thinking in particular the Lothric Knight Ultra Greatsword, the one you can basically buff it with Lightning Blade and just do ridiculous damage with it, right? So you're not going to be able to compete with that one, but that's okay, because when we're talking about PvE, these weapons aren't fighting each other, they're just fighting the AI. So we compare how well it does against the AI, and this one's very easy to use against the computers. Alright, I think that's everything I have to say about the weapon. It's a very straightforward weapon, isn't it? It just does a ton of damage after you meet the base requirements, bring some proper utility items like the Black Knight Shield, Man Serpent Hatchet, and you're good. Up next, we have some invasion footage, followed by the text tier ratings. I hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, had enough, eh?
Oh, I wonder how this will end.
Oh, majestic! Hello!
You didn't tell me you were gonna kill it.
Very good.
Well, another Halloween has come and gone.
Yes, Charlie Brown.
I don't understand it. I went trick-or-treating and all I got was a bag full of rocks. I suppose you spend all night at the pumpkin patch. And the great pumpkin never showed up?
Nope.